Hi friends, welcome back to the Angular tutorial series. And in this video, we will be working on the header and footer components. So in the last video, we created all the components that we require in our project, and we also created the new Angular project here. So, and we added the required routes, okay? And we know our app is working. As we can see, the HTML is being showed here on our web browser. So let's quickly work on the header and footer components. So let me open both the HTML files. I'm going to close the other elements here. So you need to go to your downloads folder where you have the Electro theme, and make sure you open the index.html file in your preferred editor. So I'm using Notepad++. Okay, so once you do that, you need to copy all these link tags, okay, and go to the index.html file and paste it below the favicon like this. All right, so once this is done, save the changes and go back to the editor where it says header. Copy everything from there till the navigation. Okay, copy everything and paste it here in the header.html file. Okay, so once you save the changes, go back to the browser, see something like this. So all this is being fetched from the uh, header.html, but we need to adjust the links here. Okay, so it's pointing to CSS bootstrap, so I need to point it to assets slash CSS. Save it. Okay, you see a change here, right? Do the same thing for all the other link tags, and I'm going to edit them all at the same time. The multi-cursor facility or feature. Save it, and there we have our header. Okay, so this is a drop down. The logo is missing. That's because we go back to the header component file, find the logo, this image logo. It should be under the assets folder. There you go. Okay. Uh, that's it pretty much with the header. For the footer, go back to your editor, scroll down. Okay, the very bottom where it says the footer section. Okay, copy everything from here till here. Okay, you don't need to copy the jQuery or the script tags because we already have that in our angular.json file. Okay, go to the footer component.html and paste it there. Save the changes, go back and see if that worked. Yep, perfect. And now for the home content, what we will do, we will go up. Okay, up, up. So copy everything from here. Let's copy everything apart from the navigation. Okay, here, copy, go to the home component.html and paste it there. save the changes, and there you go. So you're not seeing the images. This is because all the image tags that you see here, img, you need to replace this with slash assets slash. Save it. There you go. This is not working properly because of some scripts that are not uh, working properly. That's because I believe the bootstrap.js file is not working as expected, or maybe the select slider. Yeah. Okay. But any which ways, we will not be using uh, these tabs and all this. We will be using our own uh, products from the database. Okay. So I'm going to remove the top selling section. I don't need that. Okay, let's go down here. Let's say top selling, top selling section. Okay, I don't need it. Delete it. It should be gone now. Okay, perfect. I also don't need this tab and select section. That is gone too. Okay, so newsletter is fine and the footer. What's this? Okay, I don't need this as well, I guess. Uh, top selling, top selling, top selling. Four. Don't need this entire thing. Yeah. Let me delete it, save it, and see. Okay, looks good. Okay. All right. Now let's go to our what do you call the home component.ts file. And before we do anything else, let's quickly create a service. Okay. So a service is a way to communicate between different components. So if you want the home component to communicate with header or footer, there are a couple of ways. Either you can use decorators such as input decorator or output decorator, or you can use a service. Okay, so we will be using a service. So let's create a new folder here and name it services. And I'll use the Angular schematic. You can use the Angular CLI as well. The command will be nggs and the service name. Okay, so I will be creating a service. It will be my product service. Okay, so this is the command that you should use. Okay, and I got a new file here. So a service has this at in the injectable decorator because we inject services, and this is known as dependency injection. So and Angular heavily relies on dependency injection. So in order to use this service in our home component, what we need to do, we need to inject it. Okay, and the way you do it is go to the component and inside the constructor You type private and the name you want. I'll give it product service and the type will be my product service. Okay. In earlier versions of Angular, you need you needed to provide this service in the app module here under the providers array, but I believe from version 7 onwards, you can directly provide it in root using this keyword here. Okay, so you don't need to put anything here in the app module anymore. So once this is done, let's say we have a method here, let's say uh, show message. Okay, this will console log service called. So you can simply go to the component and in ng on init. So on init is a lifecycle hook, which is called when the component is uh, instantiated in the browser. Okay, so the very first thing which is called is a constructor, and then the ng on init lifecycle hook is called. So anything you put here will be displayed when the component is uh, generated or displayed on the browser. So let's say we want to call the product service, and the way you use the product service is using this keyword, this dot product service dot show message. Save the changes. If you go back to the browser, hit F12 on a keyboard to bring the developers console. Go to the console area, and it should give you service called. You see, it's being called from the product service here. Okay, so we will be injecting other services here in this service. All right, the one which we'll be using is the HTTP service from the HTTP client, and also the router to move between different routes. Okay, these are the two services that I'll inject in the product service. uh, I don't think router will be needed. Okay, we can add it later on if we require it. Okay, and in order to use this HTTP client, you need to include the client module, HTTP client module in the app module, not the client module here. Okay, like this. So let's create a couple of methods. Get all products. So this is to fetch all products from the backend server. So we will define an URL, server URL or server underscore URL. This will be HTTP localhost 3000 slash API. This is my base URL. Okay, so you can either put it here in the service file, or there is another place which is recommended, is the environment.ts file. So you can put any environmental variables here. So what I'll do, I'll cut it from here and paste it here and replace the equals to with the colon or semicolon. This is colon, right? I'm sorry. So once this is done, what I can do, I can simply go to environment dot, make sure you refer to the correct file. This is the production file and this is the test environment. So I'll be using the test environment, and make sure you include this import statement here, and then you need to put a dot and then server URL. That's it. So what I will do, I'll use the HTTP service here, and you can see all these methods. So we'll use the get method here. It requires an URL, so it will be our this.server URL. Okay, plus concatenate it with the products route. Okay, so this is the URL that we have, API slash products. Also, we can pass in the number of results. That's optional. Okay, and the default value will be 10 if nothing is passed. And the way you pass additional parameters is putting a comma after the URL and defining the options. The options you can define params, parameters. Okay, the one we want to define is limit. This is the name that we used in the server backend, and number of results dot to string, because that is expecting a string there. Okay, so with that set, you can go to your home component, okay, and create an array here. Let's say products, any array, and assign it to an empty array. In a in ng on in it, instead of showing message, you can call your get all products, okay, and make sure you make it as private. Okay, anything that you define as private will not be accessible by other components or other classes. It's local to that class only. So I'm not going to put any limit here, but you can definitely put a limit if you want that. Uh, Okay, so if you do not put anything, that will be that will default to 10. And this method will return you an observable. So an observable is a stream of data to which you can subscribe, and anytime there is a change in the stream, you will be notified. Your component will be notified. Okay, so you use the subscribe method here, and if you do not subscribe to that method, you will not get any information. So in the subscription, you will receive products or prods. Okay, and I'm going to assign this dot products to the prods prods dot products, I believe, because this, let's see what we get. Console.log prods, save it, go back, you get the count and the products array. Okay, so I can define this type as count, which is a number, and product, which is an array. Okay, so this dot products equals to prods dot products. So now I can console dot log this dot products and go back to the browser. There we have 10 products. Okay, so if I give a limit of 3, let's say, and refresh it, so I'll only get 3 products. Okay, perfect. So let's stick to 10, and then we would be using this this array of products in our home component.html, because like we discussed, any variable that we define here can be accessed by its corresponding template file. So we need to check where should we put it. Okay. So if I go back to the browser, so it should be under new products here. I'm going to remove this navigation section. I don't need it. and this is the product, I believe. Yeah. So I'll remove three of them. Okay. And last one, we need to use a structural directive known as ng4. A structural directive is a directive that changes the DOM. Okay. It can either add elements or remove elements as instructed. Okay. So here under row product tabs, hmm, this is the product tab. Okay. Don't need this slick nav. I don't need it. Okay. Add to cart button is fine. Add to wish list. I don't need any of this. I don't need ratings. Okay, price is fine. Category is all right. Uh, need this. Need the product image. Tab pane is not needed, and the slick is also not needed. Product tab is also not required. What I'll do, I'll create a new div here and give it class called MD4. These are bootstrap classes. Call SM6. Okay. Inside that, I'm going to create a card and give a margin of 2 in vertical direction. Okay. So inside that, I'm gonna create an image tag. Okay. So I'm gonna loop through all the products here using ng4. The syntax is let the variable name, let's say p of your array products. So every time it'll create new divs with cards in it. Okay. So on whichever element you put this ng4, that element, the whole element will be repeated. Okay. So in the source, I want to bind it. So the way you bind attributes is using square brackets and p.image. That's the image I'll receive from my backend, and I can also use p.name using string interpolation. Let's put a width of 200 pixels. Given a class of image top or card img top. The style should be cursor pointer. After that, we want card header, card header, Card title will be inside a paragraph tag, and I'm gonna name p.name and use a pipe. That's the title case. Save it and let's see how it works. There we go. Okay, these are my products. 10 products. Yeah, let I believe I don't need this. Yeah. All right, I believe there's something wrong with the bootstrap. No, not wrong. It's a old bootstrap file, I guess. I can check that here. Go to assets, CSS, bootstrap. Yeah, it's version 3.3.7. And one I'm using should be uh, version 4. So let me quickly grab it. Okay, and I'm gonna replace everything that's present here with that file. So it's 4.4.1. Okay, so you'll get this updated bootstrap main.cs file in your in my GitHub repo. Okay, there we go. Now it's properly showing. And also, I think I need to update the JavaScript. Okay, so give me a quick second. Or I guess we can leave it as it is. Doesn't matter. If everything is working, yeah, so we can leave it as it is. I think this is broken. Yeah. Okay. We'll see that in a bit. So everything is working fine. We can retrieve the products, display them on our front end, and if I click it, it goes to nowhere as of now. But we can make them go to the single product page. Okay, so for that, what I will do, close this home component. So whenever you click on the image, I want to listen to the click event and do something. Select product. Okay, and I'll pass in the ID. That's p.id, the product ID, because that is what I would be using to route the traffic to my single product page. And I'll use the router uh, service here. So this dot router, it has got a method that is known as navigate, okay, which takes an array. So I'll go to product and I need to pass in the ID. That's the parameter. Okay, I can change that then method and keep it there. So whenever you click any product, you go to this product page with the product ID in the browser. Click this, okay, and it says product works. So in our next video, we will see how we can fetch the individual product using that product ID. Okay, and we'll also try to fix this navigation bar here. Okay, so till then, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.